Welcome back to Kanika's Corner. Continuing from what we spoke about last week, which was self-esteem and my story of how I've dealt with low self-esteem and come out of it. Today I'm going to talk about the things that I routinely do to keep myself feeling good about myself. 5 things, and they work like magic. So I like to believe in this magnet that we have at home that says no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So that first tip is, how do you know when your self-esteem is getting low? How do you know when it is not okay, when you're troubling yourself? That's the first tip, that you recognize when your self-esteem is not healthy. And the way that I do it is I just look at, am I being overly critical of myself? Am I constantly feeling like, hey, I'm no good, everyone else is better than me? Or any comment that is said by anyone, it affects me a lot. I feel like that balloon that's going up and down. So that's the first tip, that when you recognize that your self-esteem is not doing good, and then you say, okay, now I need to work on it. So that's what I do first. Tip number 2 is about exercise. So I love to exercise because it keeps me feeling fit, it keeps me invigorated. Sunlight is great. But more importantly, what exercise does is it gets our happy hormones working. So serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, all the endorphins, these are the hormones that when they are in balance, they keep us feeling good about ourselves. So exercise, very important, and is tip number 2 from me. Tip number 3 is about bringing the focus on ourselves. I would say, create this mental gate wherein you put down this gate and everything on that side of it is thoughts by others, and everything towards you is what you think of yourself. Making a conscious effort of what is happening with you, what you think of yourself, and very strictly keeping it to you. It's all about you. Tip number 3 is basically that. Maintain a focus on yourself. Forget about what others are saying and just, bring everything in about what you think, what you feel, what you want. It's all about you. So tip number 4 is all about drawing a tree of yourself. Now the idea is, this is where we truthfully look at who we are, what our qualities are. Now this is the top of the tree, and here we look at what we like about ourselves. Truly think about what you like about yourselves, not what others have told you about. And in the bark, I like to look at what we don't like about ourselves. It's not hate, right? We don't hate anything about ourselves. We may not like something. And then if there are specific points that, I want to change, I want to work on, I just circle them. It makes me say that, okay, this is a priority, I've got to do something about it. And the last thing that I draw are the roots of the tree. And the roots is basically support systems, right? They can be people, they can be organizations, it can be absolutely anything, but the roots of the tree are what makes the whole thing stand up. So this is an exercise that I actually do every, say, 6 to 8 months. And I love to look at my tree and see where it has gone off to. And what changes I have to make and what changes I don't want to make. Right now in my life, what I like about myself is that I'm enjoying my time as a full-time mother. I am doing a bit of counseling on the side, and it's giving me the opportunity to balance different things and see how that is like. Okay, a few minutes of thinking has gone into what I don't like about myself, but I think at this point it's more about what I like about myself. I'm truly not finding too many points in this section, and that's a really good sign that I am right now at a good, healthy self-esteem. And support, my biggest support is my family, both my parental side, my in-laws side, my husband, Ducky. So everyone comes into this support part. Tip number 5 is all about persistence. Now it's really important to persist with the 4 points that I've spoken about. Making this change in ourselves is not easy. Delving into yourself and looking at how you are actually feeling is really hard work, and sometimes you feel like running away from it and saying it's easier to believe what others have said of us. But then we're doing injustice to ourselves. So for me, the most critical tip is persist with what we're doing. Continue this journey of finding out who we are so that we actually build a solid foundation that doesn't shake when someone says something negative to us, right? That is equally important, that whatever we find out about ourselves and whatever we do with ourselves has to be true. It should not be superficial. And that's my last tip.
When our daughter was born in September 2021, I decided to take a complete break from work and just enjoy motherhood. Now, this put me into a totally different role because, I had spent the previous 12 years working and work was a central part of my life. And here I was making this new transition. So, it is a little scary changing roles so much. And you wonder where your confidence in yourself will go because what has been rooting you for so long has changed. But you know what I discovered? Because this foundation that I had set on the belief I have in myself, and it was so strong that even this role shift did not change it, did not shake it up. Let me give you an example. When the other day my little one was playing happily with me and she suddenly fell down and banged her nose on the floor, she didn't want to be comforted by me. She went off to another family member and was very happy to be soothed by them. Now, if this had been the old me, I would have said, what am I doing wrong? Why doesn't she want to come to me as her mother to get comforting? But I also realized it takes whole village to raise a baby, and that's exactly what we have. And I'm very happy in my role in this village and for my daughter to be comfortable enough with someone to go to them to be soothed, right? And it didn't make me feel any less of a mother or any less of a human being. The fact that, once she settled down, she came back to me and told me her story about how she fell and on her nose and, did all of that. What more can I ask for?
So these are 5 tips that I have used routinely over the years, and I hope that they help you sort of understand where your self-esteem is at and how to make it a healthy one, a balanced one, and make you feel better about yourself. Thank you for watching Kanika's Corner, and do subscribe.